The other reason that makes it the worst place to live is people, you know, you've got to look deep into these things, and there's a real mafia presence there, and it's a serious issue. You know, you've got thuggish people walking around giving you dirty looks, and you got to watch you know, your interactions with people, and you know, there's some really bad things going on there. So today we are making,
Look oily.
they do look oily, but we're not frying them, we're baking them, so they need a lot of oil. That's the trick. So we made some pesto. That's homemade pesto.
The Italian flag, it's red, green, and white.
Oh, we've got the Italian flag going, I guess. Alex. Red, green, and white. The cheese. I guess we're calling these little calzones or something. Little calzones.
Calzone is already plural.
It's
calzone is plural.
calzone. Okay, these are like hot pockets. Pesto empanadas. Yeah.
No, they're not empanadas, honey.
What are they? Empanadas.
Calzone.
Calzone, hot pockets. Hey there, talking about top 10 reasons not to move or live in Italy. All right, first a disclaimer. This is not a hate Italians video. A lot of Italians don't handle that very well when you say things, you know, about their country that isn't just everything is la dolce vita and everything's beautiful. We've made many other videos about other countries. What we want to do is provide a balance to people, and we also want to tell people things that they should know. You know, I mean, anytime people make a big change in their life, such as a big international move, I mean, you know, you want to know everything there is to know, and you want to make sure that you have all of the information that you need. Sometimes people have a civic pride, and they get defensive, and it's not about you. So, you know, it's about what people need to know about moving to a different country. So, all right, with that, let's get on with it. So I'm going to give you the top 10 reasons, and as always, understand that this is not just something I read about. This is a personal experience. You know, I mean, I have a heritage, an Italian heritage. We just came back from Italy, and there's just a lot of things that people need to know about Italy. There's an awful lot of people that you know, talk about going to Italy, and they are just completely oblivious to these reasons that I'm about to share with you. And I think it's important to know. The first reason is the reason why I wouldn't want to be in Italy is because of our experience with ALITALIA. ALITALIA, you may say, well, that's just one airline, but it is the national airline. So as a national airline, it is a main airline, and I imagine there's other ways to travel. I mean, we did take trains and such. Bus service is not very good in Italy. It's much better here in Latin America. You know, I've sat around or stood around waiting for hours for buses, and if you miss the last bus at 5 p.m., boy, you're up a creek. So the Alitalia national airline was so bad, I had to make a whole video about just that airline. That would be a thorn in my side if I lived in Italy, knowing that I would maybe want to get on an airline and it would have to be the national airline. That would be a really stressful thing, and that's a good reason not. That's one of the 10 reasons not to live in Italy. The second reason is, these aren't in any particular order, by the way. The South is, my personal experience and opinion, the South is the best place to live in all of Italy. There's reasons for that. You know, starting with, it has the best weather. I mean, you can go in the mountains, but it snows. Some people like snow. It's cold in the north. The South is more charming. It's got a lot of history, and the people are much nicer in the South, especially if once you get to know them and they like you. They're very cool people. Unfortunately, the South is also the worst place to live in Italy. Did I mention that the cost of living is lower in the South? Yet it is the worst place to live in Italy because of very poor infrastructure that nobody tells you about that I didn't remember as a child, but when we recently went there, we were rudely reminded of how poor the infrastructure is. It's just as bad as any third world country, and actually maybe even worse. The other reason that makes it the worst place to live is people, you've got to look deep into these things, and there's a real mafia presence there, and it's a serious issue. You've got thuggish people walking around giving you dirty looks, and you got to watch your interactions with people, and there's some really bad things going on there that I don't want to go into detail for you. That isn't necessary. All of Italy is great for visiting and touring, but as far as place to live, the south would be the best place, but unfortunately it has reasons that makes it the worst place. So okay, number 3, decrepit real estate. There is a point when things get older and they get cute and charming and that, but there is a point where you draw a line and you say, look, this thing is too old, it's junk, throw it out. I'm not saying that it wouldn't be really pretty in a painting on your wall to look at. There's a lot of oil paintings and they're amazing, of old real estate. But the real estate is really obsolete. That's the word. It's just obsolete. And I'm not saying you can't get brand new real estate, but a lot of the places that are the most charming and really most desirable places, unfortunately, are stuck with this really old, obsolete real estate. That's why they're giving it away, don't you know? There's a reason why they do things like that. And that brings me to number 5. Because of the age of the population, there's an inordinate amount of fear of getting sick and dying. Now, to me, if you've lived your life, you've reached your the average age limit, and to have a fear of getting sick from a flu or some kind of flu virus that is in the news or whatever, there's just an inordinate amount of fear that goes hand in hand with the aged population, and it's definitely an issue to reckon with when everywhere you go you're surrounded by all these people that are in just complete fear. And the next thing is a lot of these just kind of morph into each other. Like, you got the aged population, half of them are smoked, they're hoarse, they're sick, and they're fearful. And the next thing is the Italians in general are superstitious. A lot of them. I'm not trying to say everybody's superstitious or everybody's old and everybody's sick, but there is a large enough percentage of people that it's something to be reckoned with and to highlight and talk about. So the superstitiousness is not just in the south. It's not in a particular region. When we used to live in the north of Italy, listen to this. I was walking down the street in a pretty big city in North Italy, and so you think northern Italians, they like to fancy themselves as more intelligent and more sophisticated, but listen to this. This was in the north of Italy. I was walking down the street and there was a crowd, so I walked over to the crowd to see what was going on, and there was a pretty big crowd, a couple dozen people standing there staring at a window, and I'm like looking at this window and I'm going, okay, what are they staring at? Finally somebody mentioned there's a shadow in the form of a silhouette of Mary Magdalene. Yes, silhouette of Mary Magdalene, and they were all standing there marveling that was literally the shadow of Mary Magdalene, and that was in a big city in the south. Very superstitious, ridiculously superstitious. The other number 7 is that Italy, well, it's in the EU. What else is there to say? I mean, it's in the EU. You know what all the problems of the EU are. A lot of people focus on the benefits of the EU, but there's a lot of problems that the EU causes, which I won't go into detail, but it's enough to say that, hey, it's in the EU. It's not really its own country. It's in the EU, so enough said. Which brings me into number 8, Italy, which, when I say Italy, and in this case is in bed with China, the Italian politicians are in bed with China. You know, just walking around, even in South Italy, you know, the shops are just like a lot of places like Panama. Panama's the same way. There's, you know, shops with things imported from China. Now, this isn't to say that, you know, I mean, there's lots of things that are from China, even in the U.S. or all over the world. So what's the issue? Well, you know, talking about having an authentic experience and talking about having a real Italian experience, and then you just... But beyond that, though, the politicians are in bed with China, and because they are in bed with China and because the country is in the EU, unfortunately, you know, they submit to all of these kinds of agendas that come from that part of the world. And that leads to a severely important issue, which is going to be the last one. That was number 8. Number 9 is that Italy is actually a high-tax country. A lot of the exoduses that were happening were not just because of taxes. I mean, but you know, the policies are always have been very high tax, high socialistic in Italy, which causes the exoduses of the people to want to go elsewhere to seek a better life. Recently, Italy even has tried to entice people to move there by making some exceptions to their tax structure. But when you, and I've done this, when you actually go dig deeper and read the fine print, you see that you get the impression that whoever is drafting, and they recently had to, by the way, they recently had to scale back because they weren't getting any takers. So that tells you something. But when you look at the fine print, you get the impression that they aren't really wanting to lower taxes. They're almost like this reluctance to where they put all these conditions and hoops so that, you know, it's just, you know, and the place and the location and the this and the that, and it's just look, just get on with it. You want to lower taxes, lower taxes. Don't make a manual, you know, with 1,000 pages so that people can qualify or not qualify. It's ridiculous. So the taxes have always been high, just as high as any high tax country, and actually even higher when you put in all the sales taxes and all that. And number 10, unfortunately, at this time, Italy is in full medical dictatorship at the moment. There are people on the internet that are oblivious to this. They don't know it. It's not a surprise to me. A lot of the expat communities don't do their homework, and they think they're going to the Italy of yesteryear, but what they don't know is that the place is on full medical dictatorship in Italy. Every single day on the news, lockdown this, lockdown that, you can't move around. I'm not going to go into detail. If you don't know what a dictatorship is and you want to find out, just go to Italy. Anyway, all right, and with that, I have just given you 10 top reasons not to move to or live in Italy, coming from someone that actually knows. And thanks for staying with me and watching the video, and have a wonderful day.